Hello lovely people. So this is a Galactic Mayan Astrology report for Sunday the 29th of September 2019. So my dears, something just to mention before we begin, I am transitioning now into doing a Wavespell newsletter. I'll still be doing my videos, but within that newsletter you're going to be able to access a free Wavespell meditation every Wavespell to help you to get in alignment with the energy. So if you want to sign up to that, if you have a look on my website at jyotiofferings.com, I've put the link in the box below. So yeah, the energy that we are moving into is the energy of blue storm. So we've just been through the White World Bridger Wavespell, which is all about the death of old worlds and, you know, really what kind of needs to come to the surface in order to be shed and ended. You know, and I know for me personally, the previous Wavespell has really been working with these really deep set patterns that I have been living by forever, that have to end in order for me to reach my liberation. And you know, now we're coming into the storm Wavespell, and I love the way that all of the Wavespells are constructed, because it is what we're experiencing on planet Earth, but there's just a beautiful symphony. It's like every Wavespell builds on the previous Wavespell, and it's super powerful. So the storm energy, the storm is blue. So blue energy within Mayan astrology is about transformation, and for me, transformation always begins with the emotions. It always begins with the destructive patterns essentially that have been created from the wounds that we have inherited from our experiences, you know, being a human being. So when it comes to blue energy, there's always this transformation. And the storm energy, you know, if you think of the storm archetype, there's a strength in the storm. There's nothing that we can do to prevent a storm, you know, and we can marvel at its power and its might, you know. And for me, I love watching storms because I really get to witness, we really get to witness the power of nature. You know, it's like super cataclysmic. And this is a key theme of the blue storm energy. It's all about the catalyst. So the storm comes in to really shake everything up. And essentially the process that we're going through when we're working with the storm energy is about coming closer and closer into the center of the storm. So oftentimes, due to all of the experiences that we've all had of conditioning, you know, in whatever way that has manifested for each one of us personally, due to where we were born on the planet, due to our family history, you know, we're really at a time now on planet Earth where these ancestral wounds are being ended. Yeah, so a lot of the people that are kind of on this path, or however you really want to sort of talk about it, you know, whatever words you want to put on it, and there's no better and there's no worse, because we are all the same thing, but it's just the roles that each one of us has decided to play at this time on planet Earth for the evolution of our souls. But it's kind of, for the people that are working with awareness at the moment, you know, it's like all of that stuff that's kind of been passed down through generations is stopping with us. But that's not to say that we don't have a lot of debris floating around in our subconscious that means, therefore, debris in our lives as a result of all that conditioning. Now, something, you know, that the storm really supports us to do is get rid of that debris. It comes in, it whips everything about. It's like, whoa, you get to see, oh my gosh, there's still junk over there and there's still junk over there, and it can feel a little bit like, everything's in chaos, I don't know what's going on, I don't know, it's all really fast. All that chaos takes us then to the stillness after the storm. But the thing that's been really sort of interesting for me at the moment is really witnessing how, and I've said this to people that I've been talking to and connecting with recently, you know, like, so if I was to start now, and this is, I think, the same for all of us because we're all experiencing the same themes of energy all the time, if I was to start relationships now, they will be very different from the relationships that I started in the past, because I'm a different version of myself. But we're kind of in this process now of having to undo and rewrite who we are in relationships, in our lives, in every sense. But that means that there's kind of a bit of catching up to do with the past. So it's like the previous echo has to be faced in order for the integration to happen. So sometimes within, the storm energy, it can feel like we're overwhelmed with the echoes. It's like, oh my gosh, I thought that I dealt with that. I thought that I was dealing with that. But it's like, as we open to dealing with these things, we then have to kind of experience the fallback of our previous selves and our previous actions. So it's quite an energy of karma coming back around as well. But the interesting thing is, and I learned this from my mama, this thing of karma, it's like we've got to experience everything on all sides of the board, So we have to experience how it feels to deal our behaviour. But what seems to be the pattern is once we receive it, it's like the closing of the lesson. But sometimes, depending on how out of balance we've been and how many times we've not been blooming listening to that little lesson, there might be quite a big fallback that we have to receive in order to balance that karma, to end that story, to step forward in a different way. So this blue storm energy is really, really this, like I say, catalyst energy. So it might feel like, and I don't have an experience of being in a male body. I have an experience of being in a female body, and I can say for certain that the experience of being in a female body with hormones is pretty stormy. So it will probably be an energy that's quite familiar to people that have been through the experience of a menstrual cycle. You go up and you go down, and it gets to that week before, and it's like everything, you're like on super sensitivity, everything sends you crazy, everything throws you out of whack. That is the energy of the blue storm. It's like we're kind of thrown all over the shop by our emotions. But if we can, using whatever shadow transformation technique we use, I personally use EFT, if we can catch those crazy moments, those patterns, those reactions, it's like it all gets amped up so that we can see what's going on subtly below the surface all the time. It's like we get a magnifying glass, like the storm energy is a magnifying glass. The stuff that's operating all the time below the surface that might just be, in any normal circumstance, a little niggle that we feel in response to that person's behaviour or to that thing happening in our lives. When we're in the storm energy, it's a big niggle because the storm is wanting us to see what's operating underneath the surface. So that then gives us a better chance of accessing that pattern. So whatever that reaction is in response to that thing that's coming into us is a pattern. It's a learnt way of being. Either somebody's taught us how to do it, or somebody else's actions has forced us into doing it. When we've been little, whatever we've learned to survive, whatever our reactions are, we get to see what that pattern of behaviour is. When that happens, this happens. And within the storm energy, what happens is we get to really see it clearly. So if we utilise that and say, oh wow, that's interesting, okay, that was a huge reaction, maybe wait until the dust has settled a little bit. I know that I, for one, have to really stabilise myself before I can get to a position of tapping. Some people use tapping to stabilise, but for me, I just need to have a cuddle or stand outside or breathe or do something just to stabilise. And I don't know if that's, because my system's reactions are pretty intense as a result of previous experiences I've had. I don't know, because nobody knows what it's like to be in anybody else's body and sphere of existence. But when we are able to examine that little thread of behaviour, that little thread leads us to so many more, leads us to so many of our old stories that we're then able to access and transform. And this is the process of being a human being. This is the process of Mayan astrology. This is what it's all about. These archetypal stories, these archetypal energies, that even though the cast and the what actually happens within stories, the theme is the same. you know? The theme of these experiences, the beliefs that are underneath them, it's like archetypal belief patterns that we've come to transform, that have been handed down and handed down and handed down and handed down to us, who have come to transform them, to create more space for the next generation to rewrite. You know, there's always talk about like indigo children and stuff. Whatever that means, you know, it's a generation of people, a few generations of people that have come to the earth at this time. They said to smash down old systems. Now I see that personally as smashing down old systems of thought and old ways of being, so that then the crystal and the rainbow children, the generations below, can come in and rewrite, rebuild in a way that is more harmonious. So we've kind of got this energy at the moment, you know, on the planet of rewriting. We have to go in, we have to take things apart, we have to examine it in order and do the alchemy. Yeah, so we're in the 13 years of White Wizard. That began on the 26th of July this year. Prior to that, we were in a purification process. We were in a really going deep in everything falling apart, everything feeling horrible, I can't live like that anymore, I can't be with that person anymore. Oh. All the emotion. Now we're in the wizard point of transformation of that. We've got to grips with what our programming is. We've opened our eyes to see, oh wow, yep, all of those different things that happened in my childhood wounded me. We really understand that now. So it's taking that to the deeper level as opposed to the victim story of it, of okay, now I'm going to do the work to transform it. I'm going to create the gold out of the lead of these experiences. So we're really in this process now of rejigging. So the storm comes in to really support us by throwing us around to see our patterns, to see our reactions, to see what takes us out of our centre. Because the aim of the blue storm is to stay in the centre. And it's probably going to take us the rest of our lives to be able to do that. Maybe even more, you know? But that's the aim of the game. So the aim of the game is to be in the centre. So what the blue storm does is it goes, okay, this thing pulls you out of your centre. Notice your reaction. Notice how that makes you feel. That thing pulls you out of your centre. Notice your reaction. Notice how you feel. Take them deeper. Transform them. Because we can. This is the amazing thing. We're not stuck in a loop. There are tons of different things out there that we can use to support us to transform. And, you know, I'm really into EFT, I'm really into astrology, you know, and these are the things that I therefore offer because I feel like knowing ourselves, we're then able to navigate. And this is the time also that we're in. It's not about being a disciple, it's about skilling up. It's about ourselves having the skills that we need to transform our stories. You know, the age of the guru, the age of the that's the person with the answers and look at me, feeble me, that's done. And we might have a little bit of work to do to get ourselves into our master selves because I don't think any of us are there yet. But that's the journey. Us fixing, healing, transforming, getting bigger, getting brighter, getting stronger, not finding the person that's going to do that for us. So even when you're working with someone, if it is something that you're just sat there receiving, I personally don't know how effective that is unless your consciousness is engaged with your process, which again is why I love EFT. So my dears, as I said at the beginning of the report, sign up to my newsletter and you will receive your little Wavespell meditation alongside another little special offer and lots of information about this Wavespell and about the moon month that we're in. These emails are going to be coming out every Wavespell and it feels really electric and it feels really, really, really good because I'm transitioning like out of the social media into a different realm, you know? So I'm sending you loads of love for this Wavespell and yeah, life is intense at the moment in a really beautiful and magical way, but it's intense. So big ups for all of us being here and doing this amazing work. Take care, lovely ones.